Hey, what's up guys? This is the Netgear Orbi router and satellite combo. It is a tri-band mesh Wi-Fi 6 system, meaning it has the latest in wireless technology, which is wireless AX. Specifically, it's the RBK752 model. So the speed rating is 8x4200 and it's designed for up to 5,000 square feet. So let's actually open this up and see what's inside. And I'm actually going to do speed ratings with this as well as range tests. I'm also going to compare this with the other routers that I recently got, which is the Eero Pro 6 and the Eero 6. I might compare this with the Nest Wi-Fi as well if you guys are interested in that. And yeah. So simple instructions, very simple. Get the Netgear app, sure. Okay, so basically everything's here. So this is the satellite. It has two Ethernet ports. Let's actually take this out. It's actually pretty big in size. And I have the Eero Pro 6 here for reference. I also have the Eero 6 as well for a size reference. In another video I'll compare them. So yeah, so you have two Ethernet ports, you have your power. There's a little reset pin there. And for size comparison, this is basically the Eero Pro 6, so it's basically twice the size of the Eero Pro 6, and this is the Eero 6, so it's gigantic next to the Eero 6 as well. So the router is actually the same exact size as the satellite. So this does support the Ethernet backhaul option, which is going to give you the fastest possible speeds. So yeah, so you have your internet connection, you have three other Ethernet ports. I think you use these both if you have up to 2 gigabits per second internet, because this is actually rated for up to internet speeds of up to 2 gigabits per second, even though the local network is limited to gigabit. So yeah, so it's basically the same. Yeah, so it's the same exact size. Yeah, okay. So this is probably, okay, that's pretty much it there. It's probably just a router, power and stuff. Okay, so you have your Cat 6 probably Ethernet cable. If I had to, Cat 5e, wow. I'm actually surprised. Cat 5e does support gigabit, but I'm actually surprised that they would put a Cat 5e cable in here, because it's Cat 6 and Cat 7 have been out for a long time. Granted, it should handle the speed. So yeah, so you have your power supply, and this is a 12 volt 2.5 amp power supply. That's the output of it. And the same thing with this. So let's actually get it set up. I'm gonna download the app and everything, do a whole bunch of speed tests, and we'll go from there. So it's been 2 days since I've unboxed this thing. I've been playing with it. I did a whole bunch of speed tests, range tests. I'm going to go over all the different configurations you can use with this thing, very similar to how I do my other router videos. But while the router is still connected, because that's the satellite, which is basically an access point, I'm going to do a speed test on my iPhone 12 Pro, which is a wireless AX device, just to show you guys the speed while I'm recording. So my internet's basically 400 megabits per second download and 20 megabits per second upload. I typically get faster speeds than that. I typically get somewhere around the 480 range for down and the 20 to 23 megabits per second up for the upload. And everything is in megabits per second. So yeah, so you can see I got 480 down and I'm basically getting 23 up. So yeah, the final results 480 down, 23 up. So now I'm actually gonna disconnect the router, and I'll show you guys and we'll go from there. Alright, so now that I disconnected it, I have both here. Before I go over the different options and stuff with the range test, I just want to quickly go over what a mesh Wi-Fi is. So a mesh Wi-Fi is basically when you get 2 or more devices, so in this case a router and a satellite, and you can have more than that, and it basically wirelessly expands your network. Meaning, when you connect your device to your Wi-Fi signal, your Wi-Fi name, which is your SSID, and you're walking around your place and the routers detect, this mesh Wi-Fi detects you're closer to this one, it automatically switches your device and connects to this one to optimize your connection. So basically the whole point is when you move around your place, it's automatically going to switch your device. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say, oh, I'm in this room, I'm closer to this guy, let me connect to this guy. No, you don't have to do any of that. Everything is taken care of automatically. That is the whole point of a mesh Wi-Fi. It's supposed to simplify your whole Wi-Fi experience, really. And it's supposed to be seamless. So if you're watching a video, it doesn't pause. So it just continues to play while you're going. And part of that is because some of the videos, they actually buffer and stuff. Anyways, so getting into option 1, just because it is a mesh Wi-Fi doesn't actually mean you need to use more than one. Option 1 is when you get this by itself, the router by itself, you cannot get the satellite. You have to have at least one router. So you get the router, you hook up the yellow port, which is the internet port, to your modem. And if you have up to 2 gigabits per second internet, you connect both of these to the modem. I don't have that, so I can't test that, but that's what it looks like you need to do. But the other ports are Ethernet ports. You can hook it up to other devices like your computer, like your Xbox. If you need more Ethernet ports, you just pick any one of the 3 black, assuming they're all open, and you hook it up to a switch, and then you can expand your network. Okay, so option 1, all of these I tested with the iPhone 12 Pro, which is a wireless AX device, and the Pixel 5, which is a wireless AC device. And so I'm going to go over all those numbers. So with iPhone, you basically get close to this and you do a speed test like I demonstrated. I got 480 down, 23 up. All of these numbers are in megabits per second, not to be confused by megabytes per second. Then with the Pixel 5, which is a wireless AC device, I got close to it. I did a speed test. I got 472 down and 23 up. So both very good speeds. Okay, so option 2 is when you get the router, you hook it up to your modem. You basically just get a satellite or an access point. And Orbi calls it a satellite, so I'll just call it a satellite. So you get the satellite and you basically go a room or 2 rooms away, and then you hook it up to the power, and then you're good to go. It automatically detects that, expands your network. So these two are now wirelessly talking to each other. So all the speed tests, when you're close to the main router, you're going to get those fastest possible speeds. So all my speed test ratings that I'm saying are actually connecting to the satellite, and just because this is going to be the slow point, because that's always hooked up. That's always going to be the fastest possible one, because again, it's hooked up via Ethernet to your modem. That's the closest source, and it's wired. Okay, so I basically got the iPhone. I came close to this. I did a speed test and I got 478 down and 17 up. Now when I got these speeds, I was actually very surprised how fast it was. For a second I thought it was wired, but then when I double checked, it wasn't wired. So wirelessly I got 478 down and 17 up. With the Pixel, I got a little less than that, but still very close. So I got 450 down and 19 up. I did a few more speed tests, some were a little above that, some were a little below that, but basically 450, 460 is a good number. So again, very, very surprised how fast it was connected to this guy. That is just, I was actually very surprised how fast it was, even though this was wirelessly connected. Now, if you guys are wondering, hey, if it's wirelessly connected, can I use those Ethernet ports and hook up a device? And the answer is yes, you can do that. So I actually did that. I did a speed test with that too. So I hooked up one of the Ethernet ports to my Xbox Series X. I did a speed test on that. I got 482 down, 23 up. So, which was insane. Like, I was surprised, to say the least. So I was impressed, I should say. Okay, so I'm going to skip options 3 and 4. The reason why I'm going to skip options 3 and 4 is because on all my other router videos, I go over options 3 and 4. And options 3 and 4 are basically 2 routers, where the second one is acting as an access point. So in my Eero 6, Eero Pro 6, and Nest Wi-Fi videos, that's what it means. But the whole point of using 2 routers is because with the Eero 6, the extender doesn't have Ethernet ports, so if you want to use Ethernet backhaul, you actually have to get 2 routers. The same is true for the Nest Wi-Fi, because the Nest Wi-Fi point doesn't actually have any physical Ethernet ports, so you actually have to get 2 routers to actually do Ethernet backhaul. So because options 3 and 4 are using 2 routers, and because this is a router and a satellite, I don't want to use the same option. I don't want to say option 3 and 4, even though it's similar to that, but we're going to go with option number 5. So that's why I'm skipping that, to keep it consistent with my other router videos that I've done. Okay, so option 5, which is a new option that I haven't said before, is when you hook up the router via Ethernet to your satellite. So again, the router is hooked up to your modem, and then one of these other open ports hooks up to one of these ports, and then now you have a wired backhaul or an Ethernet backhaul, and you basically have a very good connection. So when I did speed tests on that with the iPhone, got close to this, and I basically got 480 down, 23 up. With the Pixel 5, I got 479 down and 21 up. Now the same is true. Can I use one of the Ethernet ports, the open one, to either expand my network or connect it to a device? And the answer is yes to both. You can hook up the other one to a switch, and then from there you can expand your network, or you could basically hook it up directly to an Xbox, which is what I did. I hooked it up to my Xbox Series X, and I did a speed test on that, and I got 486 down and 23 up. So very fast speeds. Okay, so now time for the range test. For the range test, I went farther away from the satellite. It was an option 5 configuration, so it was wired connected to that. And I went 20 feet or 6.1 meters away. And with the iPhone, I got 477 down, 18 up. With the Pixel, I got 478 down, 18 up. Then I went 50 feet away, or 15.2 meters, so I went outside, I closed the front door, and that does seem to make a slight bit of a difference when you close the door. And so when I did a speed test with that, I got 170 down and 10 up with the iPhone, and with the Pixel 5 I got 116 down and 16 up. And then I went around 70 feet away, roughly, which is 21.3 meters away, and if you go a little past that, it basically loses connection. So that's the extent of where I live. You can go, so around 70 feet away, I got 19 down, 8 up with the iPhone, and 14 down, 7 up with the Pixel. Okay, so all of these numbers that I'm saying, it really depends on where you live, the structures of your place, whether there's a lot of radio interference or not. Granted, these things are really designed to look for open channels and stuff, so they're really optimizing your signal, but understand that the speed will vary based on the place. But because I've been testing all my routers in the same exact place with the same exact placement and stuff with the same devices, so I have consistent numbers, so it's basically consistent. And if you guys do have this router and you do have the faster internet, if you have the gigabit internet speeds, I'd appreciate it if you guys wrote down the speeds you guys actually get with these. I'd be interested to know that, so thank you in advance for that. So final thoughts, what do I like, what I don't like and stuff. So there's not really anything that I don't like other than, it is priced a little bit high. So it retails for $449. Sometimes it does go on sale. Right now it's Black Friday. It's almost Black Friday, so it is on sale right now for $379. But the retail is $449, and that's what I'm gonna go off of in America, I should say. And so the app itself is really good, very consistent, very smooth. I didn't really need to restart it that often when I was going from wired to wireless. The magenta light would turn on, but then it would go away after about a minute when it would detect that, oh, I plugged in Ethernet or I unplugged it. I did have to restart it once or twice during my testing, but not a big deal because I'm changing configurations and stuff, so not a big deal. But the app is actually pretty cool. You can use the app You don't have to be home to use the app. You can actually access your network if you're far away from home, which is pretty cool. And you can actually see which devices are connected to which device here, which is pretty cool. That's not something that everyone cares about. I'm personally not going to really check that, but it does give you that option. And if you guys are wondering, you can also pause certain devices. So let's say if you have kids and they have a tablet and you don't want them using the internet for too long, as an example, you could turn off the internet for that specific device without turning off the internet for all the other stuff. Granted, you could do that, and the Nest Wi-Fi and the Eero as well. So overall, very impressed with the speeds, especially the wireless speeds with this. This is a bit larger. You know, I think aesthetics looks fine. Some people might disagree, some people might agree. But overall, performance-wise, it's been good. I've been using it for 2 days. I will do a longer-term review, and I'm also going to compare this with the Eero Pro 6. If you guys are interested, I can also compare it with the Eero 6 and the Nest Wi-Fi and stuff. But yeah, as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment sections below. I will try my best to answer it. As always, thank you guys for watching, and thank you to all my current subscribers.